Most people think cruelty is a loss of control, but for some, it's a harvest. You know the moment. They say the thing. You go quiet, and before you even answer, they are already watching your face. There is a difference between someone who hurts you by accident, someone who hurts you to control you, and someone who hurts you because your reaction is the reward. Accident is a mistake. Control is about making you do something. Reward is about making you feel something so they can watch it happen. That third category is what this video is about. Researchers who study interpersonal behavior have documented what happens when causing someone discomfort produces a consistent internal reward. Not guilt, not regret, but a reward. Once you understand that loop, the 5 signs I'm about to show you stop looking like accidents and start looking like a system. I am not here to give you a clinical label to put on them. I'm here to give you a tactical lens so you can see the loop and step out of it. The pain-reward loop doesn't require hatred. It only requires that your pain produces something they want. Here are the 5 signs that the loop is running. The first sign is the most common entry point into the loop and the easiest to miss because it comes wrapped in something that sounds reasonable. They say something that cuts, and when you react, they say, "I'm just being honest with you." Here's how to tell the difference between someone who is blunt and someone who is running a loop. A blunt person hurts you once and feels awkward. They get uncomfortable. They try to walk it back. A loop builder finds the exact same sore spot, packages it as truth, and watches your reaction for data. The example that makes this clear: imagine someone in a group setting, a dinner, a work meeting, a family gathering, who delivers a comment aimed directly at something you're already insecure about. They say it calmly. They frame it as honesty. And then they pause. Not to check if you're okay, to watch what happens to your face. That pause is the tell. Honesty doesn't require a target. When someone's truth always lands on the same wound at the same moment in front of the same audience, that's not honesty. That's aim. The shield here is simple. When someone uses honesty as a delivery system, stop engaging only with the content of what they said. Start noticing the timing, the audience, and the target. Those 3 things will tell you more than the words ever will. The second sign is quieter than the first, but it is the clearest evidence that a loop is running. It wasn't what they said. It was the half-second after, when they went quiet and watched. Someone who said something accidentally looks away. They get uncomfortable. They try to fix it. Someone who said it on purpose goes still. Not guilty still, interested still. Their eyes don't move. They're not checking if you're okay. They're checking if it worked. This is not normal concern. Normal concern looks like someone leaning back, looking away, filling the silence. What you're describing is an unnatural amount of focus. It feels like someone checking a progress bar. When the hit lands, don't look at the damage. Look at the eyes. Are they looking away in shame, or are they leaning in for the data? That question is the foundation of what I call the reaction audit. When someone hurts you, do not only track what they said. Track 3 things. First, did they watch your face? Second, did they seem satisfied, energized, or strangely more present in the moments after? Third, did they return to the same sore spot at a later point? 1 yes is noise. 2 or 3 is a pattern. Stop studying the wound. Start studying the watcher. The third sign is about energy, not words. Think about the version of this person you see when things are going well for you, when you're settled, when you're doing fine, when you're not struggling. When you share good news, do they seem present or do they go flat? Now think about the version of this person you see when you fall apart, when you receive bad news, when you break down, when you lose your footing. Suddenly, do they have questions? Suddenly, are they focused? Suddenly, are they more alive than they were when things were good? They were bored until you fell apart. Then they were suddenly very interested. This is not about someone who cares about you during hard times. Care looks like discomfort on your behalf. What I'm describing looks like focus, attention, a kind of quiet alertness that wasn't there before. Their energy tracks your distress, not your happiness, your distress. The mechanical explanation is this: they are tracking your reaction to find an emotional payoff. Your stability gives them nothing. Your instability gives them something to watch. The question to ask yourself is straightforward. When is this person most engaged with you? When you are doing well or when you are not? That single observation, tracked honestly over time, will tell you more than any conversation you could have with them. Now, before we go further, I want to be precise about something, because this is where the pattern can start to feel like it applies to everyone. One cruel moment does not make someone dangerous. Everyone can say the wrong thing. Everyone can be distracted when you're fine and more present when you're struggling. The pattern begins when the same person keeps finding the same pain, watching the same reaction, and returning to the same button. One moment is noise. A repeated loop is data. The fourth sign is where the loop becomes undeniable. Sign 1 was about disguise, how they frame cruelty as honesty. This sign is about something different. This is about precision. This is about memory. You told them, directly or indirectly, that a specific topic hurts you. A past failure. An insecurity. A memory you'd rather not revisit. They acknowledged it, and then, weeks or months later, they brought it up again. Not accidentally. In a moment where it would land. They didn't stumble onto that wound. They kept the address. This is the sign that most people rationalize the longest. They tell themselves, maybe they forgot, maybe it came up naturally, maybe I'm being too sensitive. Here is the qualifier that removes the ambiguity. This becomes clear evidence when you have already asked them to stop and they still return, when you have made it explicit, when you have said directly that this topic is off limits, and they return to it anyway. If you've already asked them to stop and they didn't, they aren't forgetting. They are testing the durability of their source. The shield for this sign is one of the most important in this entire video. Stop explaining why it hurts. The explanation is not landing on someone who doesn't know. It is landing on someone who already does. Every explanation you give is additional data about how the wound works. Stop providing it. Before we get to the fifth sign, I want you to hold something in your mind. Look back at the first 4 signs. Which one would have exposed the loop first in your situation? Sign 1, 2, 3, or 4. Hold that number. I'll come back to it at the end. The first 4 signs are about how they target you. This final sign is about what they do when they realize they're losing you, and it's the most dangerous part of the loop. When you begin to recover, when you become less reactive, more settled, more distant, something should happen if this person genuinely cares about you. They should seem relieved. They should seem glad. That is not always what happens. The moment you got better, they got worse. Not once. Not in a random bad mood, but as a pattern. That is not a coincidence. When you stop providing the reaction, the loop loses its fuel. And some people, when they feel that loss, escalate. They bring up the old wound, they create a small crisis, they make a comment sharper than usual, they get colder when you seem fine, they get more direct when you seem less affected. They are testing whether the button still works. This is the sign that makes the loop visible in a way that cannot be explained away. Because if someone was hurting you accidentally, your recovery would end the problem. If someone was hurting you to control you, your distance would frustrate them but not necessarily escalate the behavior. But if someone was hurting you because your reaction was the reward, your recovery removes the reward, and they will move to protect it. Your recovery is not the problem. Your recovery is the audit. It shows you, with clarity, what the relationship was built on. The shield for this final sign is the same logic that runs through all 5. The loop only works if you provide the feedback. Starve the loop. Reduce the reaction. Increase the distance. Your recovery must become boring to them. Less explanation, less emotional data. More distance. Not because you owe them nothing, but because the loop cannot run without your participation. 5 signs. 1 loop. They disguise cruelty as honesty. They watch your face after the hit lands. They come alive when you lose peace. They return to the same sore spot. And they punish your recovery. The pain-reward loop doesn't require a monster. It doesn't require someone who hates you. It only requires someone for whom your distress produces something they want. Once you stop asking, why would they do this, and start asking, what does this give them, the pattern becomes very clear. And clear is the beginning of done. Comment the number that exposed the loop first. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. No story required. Just mark the pattern. Subscribe if you want to spot the loop before you feed it. And if you want to understand the broader warning signs behind this pattern, watch 5 Hidden Signs of a Psychopath You Must Spot Fast next.